We are going to be studying Hilchot Roseach Ushmirat Nefesh, the laws related to murder and the obligation to protect yourself. So I want to explain this idea. So in the Torah, in Jewish thinking, when somebody is killed in a country, that crime brings a curse upon the country, unless the authorities, the court, they punish the murderer properly. But if the murderer is allowed to go scot-free, Barminan, it can bring a curse upon the country. And one of the things we're going to be studying is, number one, what do you do when a person murders intentionally? That's intentional homicide. What about negligent homicide? That's a different series of punishments or different series of punitive measures. What about obligations related to protecting yourself? So for example, in Jewish law, in Jewish thinking, if a person commits suicide, if a person of sane mind, we're not talking about somebody caught by Hamas or somebody caught by terrorists, but a person commits suicide, he intentionally jumps off the roof, intentionally brings an end to his life, that's considered like murder. So how is that possible? Another topic we're going to be studying is that topic. Things related to abortion. That's also going to be in this series of law. What happens if you find somebody murdered and you do not know who the murderer is? Another series of laws. So we have a very, very diverse series of laws that we're going to be studying over the next few weeks. But it's all related to the sanctity of the human life on the one side, and the terrible crime of bringing an end to human life, even one's own life, on the other side. So this is the general topic, right? But I want you to understand it's not just murder. Like you think, oh my gosh, for the next 3-4 weeks, we're just going to be reading about murder. It's actually a lot of different topics. So let's start. Everybody have the material? Is there anybody not have the material? Okay. Rambam, Hilchot Roseach, Ushmirat Nefesh. Let us start. We start with the general. Always, whenever Rambam starts a new topic, he starts with the general rule and then he goes into the specifics. So the general rule is Kol horeg nefesh adam Yisrael over velo taseh. It is considered a Torah violation to commit murder. Shene'emar lo tirsach, and we see this in the 10 Commandments. One of the 10 Commandments is lo tirsach, do not murder. Yes, it does. Later on, we're going to see because there's different lavim, there's different categories of. So he separates it, and we'll see why. But for now, of course, it applies to everyone.
May I digress just
yes, please, by all means.
Is it true that in antiquity and even beyond antiquity, say till, I don't know, 500 years ago, 300 years ago, Jewish community, every time they prayed, they would say also the 10 Commandments? Or
oh yes, there was, yes.
Every Shabbat they would say the 10 Commandments, or that's what I heard, every morning,
yes.
Every Shabbat. Was
right.
that the case?
Yeah, originally the 10 Commandments was included in the daily liturgy. So the same when we say Kriyat Shema, they used to say the 10 Commandments. That's correct. Yeah, they stopped because there were early Christian groups. They wanted to select portions of the Torah which they said are important, and they wanted to get rid of other portions of the Torah. Eventually, they got rid of the whole Torah, and that's why they call it the Old Testament. The Old Testament means it's no longer relevant. Mm-hmm. But it started by saying, oh, the 10 Commandments is important. The proof is, oh, you say it every day, right? And that's why it's important. You acknowledge it yourself. So the Hachamim changed that custom, mm-hmm. and that's why we don't say the 10 Commandments in the liturgy, because they were using it as a way to attack the Torah. Mm-hmm. Right?
I even heard that I think in old Tefillin they found that I think maybe it's in that.
Yeah, that could be, but that would be a mistake if anybody did that. Right? Meaning that would be those groups who were already saying this is the important part of the Torah, and the right citizen, so they're putting in the Tefillin, the 10 Commandments, for that reason.
So
exactly.
Sometimes Taliban don't want to sit down for the
exactly. Yes, exactly. Harambam says so. Okay, Harambam says that it's forbidden. There was a groups of people. Now, this is not early Christian groups, but among the Jewish community who said, let's stand up for the Ten Commandments when it's read in the synagogue, right? And the Rambam said, no, you're not supposed to stand up for the Ten Commandments because you can't say one part of the Torah is more important than another part of the Torah. They're all part of the same system, and every letter in the Torah has importance and significance. So Rambam said, if you're hearing the Ten Commandments in Knis, sit down. Ashkenazim stand. Exactly. There's a machloket. There's Ashkenazim wanted to say you stand, and Rambam says no.
Also they stand.
Really? I didn't know Shirat Hayam they stand also. Interesting. That I didn't know. But what?
What would be the background to that one? Is there a pasuk in there that says
I
stand?
follow in Florida when we go Pesach time, they reach Shkat Hayam, they all stand.
They stand up. Interesting. That I didn't know. Right. Okay. So let's read now. So
It's okay if you don't invite you for a
no. That's another story. If you're inviting me for Kitavo, I get invited for the Ten Commandments. You can't have one without the other. Okay. By the way, it's all the same. But
All the Sephardic schools now are doing where they invite the rabbi up for.
I know.
Yeah, and that's
They shouldn't.
right. So they stand up because the rabbi is going up. That's allowed because everybody. I think people recognize the reason we're standing is because of the rabbi.
But I think we're doing this. We're following the Ashkenazim, so that's.
Oh, that I
loophole.
didn't know.
That's the
Interesting.
loophole. Give it to the rabbi, so everybody stands.
Interesting.
Because otherwise they're elevating one part
Got
over
it.
another.
Yeah.
All these
it's-
rabbis
that's why it's
are
forbidden.
In Ashkenaz schools, so where they learn from there, right?
Haha, interesting. Okay, all right. Ve'im lasach bezadon b'fnei adim mital b'sayir. Now, technically speaking, murder is a capital offense, and therefore, if somebody murders in the presence of witnesses, he is executed. There are 4 modes of execution in Jewish law. I think America has electrocution. I don't know, whatever they have, lethal injection. In Judaism, you have 4 modes of execution. One is a saif, like they do in Saudi Arabia with the sword, right? So that's the punishment for committing murder, right? What?
We get all excited and keep going.
Look, I'll tell you, as I said, as there in Saudi Arabia or in many of these Arab countries, I don't know Saudi Arabia, I know that it's in Iran. I know in Iran it's common to do these executions in public, and people go and they seem to enjoy it or watch it. In Judaism, it's considered a very somber day. For example, if a judge declares that somebody's guilty of death penalty, he's not allowed to eat. He has to be in a ta'anit. Very, very difficult for us to execute someone. And as I said so many times, the legal process leading to the execution makes it almost impossible to reach a point where we're going to execute someone, right? We studied those laws in the past. I'm not going to repeat them now. But
Who has to fast? The judge?
the judges, the judges are declaring, the pasuk says, "Lo tochelu al adam." So "Lo tochelu al adam," one of the meanings of "Lo tochelu al adam" is you should not eat if you're going to be bringing death, meaning as a judge, upon somebody else. So do not eat on that day. "Lo tochelu al adam" when you're doing the execution. All right, Shnei Emar nakom yinakem, and the pasuk says that this murderer, we have to avenge the death of the victim. Meaning, we were studying in the morning. We're studying the story of Cain veHevel, and when Cain murders Hevel, God tells Cain, "Kol demei achicha so'akim elai min ha'adama." I hear the screaming of the blood of your brother. Right. So Hevel was murdered. His blood is soaked by the earth is soaked with his blood, rather, I'm sorry. And God is saying that blood is screaming out to me. So you can't ignore the screams of a victim, right? It must be dealt with. But I have to say that I'm very pleased that in Israel they're finally talking about doing death penalty to terrorists. I mean, maybe they should have thought about it like 30, 40, 50 years ago. But okay, I guess better late than never, maybe. Right? No, it's crazy. It's like every time you catch a terrorist, it's just you're gonna release 100 terrorists who are gonna kill another 1,000 people. And it's like, okay, all right. So the point is, but according to there's also a philosophical, moral issue, and that moral issue is you can't ignore the screaming blood. The blood is screaming. It feels pain. It was killed. You took away its life or our life, and you can't just say, oh, okay, whatever. Like it was, what's done is done. Right. And the Gemara explains why we chose execution by sword. I will give you the the deeper meaning of why sword. So in Judaism, when a person rebels against the kingdom, mitato b'sayif, that's a political sin. So for a political infraction against the king, not every infraction is saif, but the proper infraction would be saif. Now, when you murder somebody, you're violating the Selim Elohim. You're violating the image of God within that individual. So it's almost an affront to God's royalty, right? God's royalty is within our neshama, and then you kill this person and you brought an end to that. So that's a saif. You understand the political aspect of
Why the sword versus...
why the sword, right? Right. There's different types of mitah. So the saif represents a political infraction. And that's why, so that I'm explaining what's a political infraction, that the soul has within it the royalty of God, and you just put an end to that. You understand?
Okay.
So mitato b'sayif. כיוון שהרג את חברו בברזל, בין ששרפו באש, and it doesn't matter how the murder was done. He shot somebody, he burned somebody, it doesn't matter what, the type of murder doesn't affect the type of execution. Execution is always going to be beside. That's the way it's done. Next, now, that's in terms of the judicial process. But there is a special mitzvah. Mitzvah bi'ad goel hadam. The mitzvah is for the relative of the person to be the one that presses the button, so to speak. So let's say, imagine it was electrocution. We would tell the relative, we're going to see in a moment who the relative is, who's considered a relative. He's called Goel Hadam. Goel Hadam literally means he who redeems the blood. So let me explain to you what redeeming the blood means. Goel Hadam means a relative. So let's say a person's brother was killed, murdered. Okay, so now the live brother is the Goel Hadam of the dead brother. So Goel Hadam literally means he's going to redeem the blood. What does it mean, redeem the blood? So again, go back to Hevel. After Hevel was killed, he was suffering, right? And the blood was screaming. So the blood is screaming because it says, somebody do something about this. Do you see what just happened? So the Goel Hadam is the one who redeems the blood of the murder victim. You understand what Goel Hadam is? So, and he sees his relative, the Neshama sees that it's his relative doing it for him, and he feels a sense of comfort that his relative was aware of what happened. This person, he loves this person, it's his relative, and the relative now is redeeming him. You understand the idea of Goel Hadam? Right, so that's Geulah. So mitzvah b'yad Goel Hadam, shene'emar Goel Hadam hu yamit et haroseach. Meaning, when it's time to actually take the sword, if possible, it's preferable that the Goel Hadam is the one who actually does execution. It doesn't mean that we're cowboys in the Wild West. It means that after the court sat down and decided that this person should be executed, then they would invite the Goel Hadam to be the one who undertakes the actual execution. You understand the idea? Not that the Goel Hadam sees him in public, you killed my brother, boom, I'm going to kill you. No, that's not at all, in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Now, who's considered Goel Hadam? Any relative who could potentially inherit the murder victim. It could be that the Goel Hadam is old. He can't. Or he's not able. Some people are very squeamish. Right? Most people actually, nowadays, I think, we're squeamish. So it's very difficult. Can't do it. He doesn't have the physical ability. Or it could be, maybe he has no relatives. Maybe the guy was a convert, a proselyte, a ger tzedek. He was a ger tzedek. He was killed, and now there's no Goel Hadam. Betin memitin et haroseach b'sayf. Then it's up to the betin to execute the murderer. Understood the law? So you understand what? So the idea is a very deep idea. The idea of Goel Hadam is a wonderful idea because it's also another Goel if a person has financial difficulties. And he had to give up his land in Israel. So in Israel, everybody is entitled to land. But sometimes a person has to give up his land. He's going through financial difficulties, so he sells his land. So now when you sell the land in Israel, it will go back to you on the Jubilee year, which is once every 50 years. But in the meantime, you feel a sense of estrangement from your inheritance, from your parents' land, from your grandparents' land. So Goel, in that case, And this is what happened in the book of Ruth, where Boaz was a Goel. So the Goel is somebody, a wealthy relative, who says, you know what, I'm going to buy the land for you, right? So you can do that. So you see, the idea of Geula is a general idea where one relative helps out the other relative. So in that case, he helps out the other relative financially, and he redeems the land. In this case, the Goel Hadam, he redeems the blood of the suffering person. The person is suffering, and he needs somebody to redeem his blood, and the relative says, I'll do that for you. And so that's the idea of Goel. Ha'av, a very interesting law. Ha'av shalag et beno. Im haya leneherag ben, harezeh horeg aviv. Now, if a bar minan, God forbid, a father murdered his son, then it would be up to the grandson to be the one who executes the grandfather, meaning the grandson, the son of the murdered victim, he is a Goel Hadam because it's his father. And we say, oh, but you could kill your own grandfather, so he could. Meaning, if he wants to avenge his father's death, and the Betin invites him, and they say, you're the Goel, you have the right, he can do it, right? Mipeneshu Goel. I think I just heard some. Was there a bell or something? I'm sorry. I thought it was the everybody's waiting for the food. So I don't know what's better, to get patzala or to get the food. But okay, whatever.
Food's better.
Food's better, exactly. All right.
It better come before I have to.
All right. And skip to the end of this halakha, the very bottom of this law. It says, it doesn't matter. There's no distinction here between male and female. For laws of inheritance, there's a distinction between male and female. Here, there is no distinction. Meaning, if a person has a daughter, and that daughter is the only living relative, let's say, or the only one willing to do it, she can do the execution, right? It doesn't have to be. We don't distinguish between male and female. The important thing is that the person, the murdered individual, sees that a relative is taking care of him and cares about him.
That's interesting, because women don't inherit.
Yeah, exactly.
They used that language earlier.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Although there could be a situation like with Benot Tzalov, but if they were only one's thing. But it's unusual. Yes. All right. Now here's another law. It was common. I don't know common. I'm not an expert in ancient laws, but it was a practice that if a person was a murderer, the murderer, if he was very wealthy, he would tell the judges, look, I want to pay money instead of being subjected to death, I want to pay money and save myself. In Judaism, that's considered a very big avera. You're not allowed to do that. So it's forbidden for the judges to agree to take an atonement. Kofir means an atonement, meaning he's paying money. I'm going to give the guy's a billionaire, I don't know who, whatever, Elon Musk. I'm going to give $1 billion. I'm writing a check for $1 billion. We don't care. We don't care what the amount is. There's no value that you can put on this person who's suffering. Oh wow, look at this. Wow. In the cold. Yes. Okay. You want to take a break just to get the thing? I'm going to pause. I don't know why. No need to apologize.
5-minute break. And we can
5-minute break.
I can wash your plates because we're running home, everybody. Go. Hope you're hungry. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, so let's continue. While you're eating, I'm going to continue teaching. Now let's say, so the Reuven kills Shimon, and the Reuven is very wealthy. He said, I'm going to give you $1 million, please don't kill me. And then Shimon's son, he's Goel Adam, he says, you know what? Yeah, I'll take the $1 million. Sounds like a good deal. It's haram. Doesn't matter. You can't do it. You can't do it. שאין נפשו של זה הנהרג קניין גואל אדם, אלא קניין הקדוש ברוך הוא. Because the person who was killed, אין נפשו של זה הנהרג, this person who was murdered, he doesn't belong to the Goel Hadam. He doesn't belong to his relative. It's not like his relative says, yeah, I'll sell you his soul for $1 million. Kinyan HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the person belongs to God, right? You killed the soul that was put by God in that body, and now he's saying, I'll take the money. Who are you to take the money? It's not your money to take. The Pasuk says in Parashat Mas'eh, at the end of the book of Devarim, it says it's forbidden to take an atonement for the soul of the person who was murdered. It's his soul. How can you take an atonement for it? There is no avera in the Torah, in the entire Torah. There is no avera that's considered as strict as murder. Meaning, you must do something about the murdered victims. The Pasuk says, if you don't properly punish the murderer, not the victims, but the murderers, right? You're going to end up the land is going to, the land of Israel. The land of Israel is going to become impure. Because the blood of the people murdered in Israel, it defiles the land. It says that in the Yemot HaMashiach, Perashat Azinu, at the very end of the parasha, it describes it's going to happen in Yemot HaMashiach, and to my understanding, it's describing Gog and Magog. And then it says that Kidam Avadav Yikom Bechiper Admato Ammo. Literally, the pasuk says as follows: God is going to take vengeance for the blood of all the Jews that were killed in Israel. Because when the Romans came into Israel, the Romans, they murdered a huge amount of Jews. It was really very, very horrifying what happened in the days of the Second Temple, and then the destruction of the Second Temple, and then the Bar Kokhba revolution. So it says that Ki Kom Adonai Amo V'chipel Admato Amo. Kidam Avadav Yikom V'chipel Admato Amo. I'm sorry, I misread the pasuk. So there's going to come a day in the future where God is going to take vengeance for all of those Jews who were murdered in Israel, because you can't not take vengeance, is the point of the pasuk. And when that happens, then there's going to be kapara for the land. What does it mean, kapara for the land? Because when you have people killed in Israel, it defiles the land. So we need God to come in, take vengeance against the people who killed all those Jews, and that vengeance will be the kapara for the land of Israel. You understand the idea of Perashat Azinu? So it's related to this, that the blood, it defiles the land.
Just Nekama has like a negative connotation, vengeance.
Yeah, right, but
if somebody passed away,
yeah,
we have to find that we gotta do.
yeah,
It's almost like a tip of tap, which I'm not sure.
right, but that's why it's called Goel Hadam. Goel Hadam. We don't call him the Nokem, right? We don't call him the Avenger.
Right.
We call him Goel Hadam. Goel Hadam means you have an obligation to redeem the blood of their just like God told Cain, right? So you have an obligation to redeem this blood. This person is suffering. You can't ignore the suffering of the person. So his neshama was killed. His blood is there, screaming out to God.
Okay.
So you can't say, I don't want to take vengeance. Well, you have to take vengeance, right?
Or
You have to.
You're righting the wrong. I mean, it's just like
It's not vengeance. It's you're redeeming the person who was killed. The person who was killed wants you to do something.
Right. Otherwise, life is cheap in the eyes of man if you don't do something to somebody that was killed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Rabbi, with other crimes, like if somebody loses income, you end up having to make them whole. In
Correct.
the case of somebody's murdered, and let's say they were the provider for the family,
Right.
like what happens with the family?
Right. There's no double jeopardy. Meaning, since we enunciated this principle about a month ago. Kim lebi d'rabba mineh. There's a principle in Jewish criminal law where you can only punish the person either bodily or monetarily, and we would always give him the worst punishment. So since it's capital offense here, he would not have to pay a monetary liability.
Right.
We would not do that. No, he would be executed, and that would be it.
So the community would take
The
care
community
of
would have to
it.
take care of the, of the individual, of course, or the individual, the family. Yes.
Is this similar to what happened, let's say October 7th, where we avenged
The ones that passed.
In what way? When you say we event, by going in and doing what we did?
And then killing them.
Yeah, 100%. I'm very happy.
No, I don't think so though. It
And what-
wasn't done under the same structure.
No, but I do agree, meaning I do agree that when the Goyim enter Israel and they murder Jews, you have to avenge the death of the Jews. And again, it's not just a question of vengeance in the angry sense. It's a question of these people were killed and we can't ignore their deaths. That's what I think. That's what you're saying, and I do agree with that. You get the idea?
No, I get that idea. I'm saying it's completely independent of this because this is done under a particular structure.
Yeah.
And what we're
That's not
talking
in the-
about
in the
is-
laws of
is
war.
Protecting your country or whatever it is, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do
why
understand what
would
you're
we use
saying.
this to justify going into Gaza.
We don't need a court to
Right.
kill a terrorist. Meaning, if a person is at war, you just kill.
Sure.
Here, you need a court, but it's the same idea. Meaning, to not have done.
Would be an injustice.
Right, and by the way, Bibi Netanyahu, he did turn most of Gaza into a parking lot. So I give it tremendous credit for that. I do. I mean, I know people criticize him, and it's okay. You're allowed to criticize, and everybody's allowed to have their opinions about things. I'm okay with that. But I do respect the fact that he turned Gaza into a parking lot. I think he had to, because there's no way not to have done that. You understand? There's no way after what happened. It's like, okay, let's have a ceasefire, guys. Okay, everybody, no. Turn it into a parking lot and then let's talk about a ceasefire.
Also, under these laws, how far do you have to go? Should you pursue the person to avenge the death?
Of course.
Outside of the country?
Yeah, I mean, wherever the death cannot be ignored, and we're going to see one of the topics we're going to study is, well, what if we can't find the murderer? That's going to be one of the topics, right? Okay, let's continue. Okay, now, important law. If a person Reuven intentionally kills Shimon, and there's witnesses there, and the witnesses saw the whole thing. The witnesses told Reuven, don't do this, it's haram, it's a capital offense, the Torah says, lo tirsach. If you do this, you're going to be subject to death penalty. So there, they did all the formalities, and he says, I know what I'm doing, I know this is Torah prohibition, I know I'm going to be subject to death penalty, I don't really care, I want to do what I want to do. So the Reuven goes and he kills Shimon. So you say, okay, the witnesses were there. Let them execute the murderer. Vigilante justice. No.
Who's they? The witnesses?
The witnesses.
Okay.
En memitin oto ha'edim velo haroim oto. It is forbidden in Jewish law to have vigilante justice. The witnesses cannot kill the murderer. Maybe there's a mob that saw the whole thing. They cannot kill the murderer. He should be brought to court, and in court there should be the proper proceeding. It could be a very fast proceeding. No, that's for the Horeg B'Shogeg. That's for Shogeg. And we're going to study that also. We're going to study the laws of In Miklat, how that works. But for now, we're dealing with the person who's killing Bemezid, intentional homicide. Shneimar, velo yamut haroseh adamto lifnei hadei hamishpat. So important. Number one, if we were allowed to have the witnesses murder the murderer, then we would turn into a mob society. We would turn into a society of thugs. Number one. Number two, there is a certain sanctity to the court, and it brings a certain power when it's the court that says, we examine the witnesses, and this person is a murderer, and he's going to be executed. You see the power of that? It's like you're undoing the wrong. When it's just a bunch of crazy people, no, we're not. That's not undoing the wrong. That's mob justice, right? We don't believe in that type of thing.
You're saying on the spot they can't do it and kill him.
Right.
But if the judge says, okay, they're guilty, and the witnesses can kill him, can we do that?
Right. If one of the rules we're going to study is Yad ha'edim tiye bo barishon al lahamito. If there's no go'el hadam, then it's going to be Yad ha'edim. We're going to study all those details of Belineda. But I saw this terrible scene in Jerusalem that 3 weeks ago. They were having these demonstrations, and there was a woman walking there, and she wasn't dressed inappropriately. She was just, whatever. She was wearing pants, long pants. I think maybe she had a short sleeve shirt, whatever. It wasn't a synagogue, it was like a street, and they started pelting her with bottles. There was like hundreds of like Hasidic men, like they were pelting her. But
Terrible.
Judaism, what?
Terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Which area was it in?
In Jerusalem. Yeah. So I said this is fundamentally un-Jewish, meaning we don't believe in mob vengeance. Even if I'm not saying she did anything wrong. I don't think she did anything wrong. I think they were just, but whatever. Let's say she did something wrong. Let's say she said, I don't know. Let's say she was holding a pastrami and cheese sandwich. I don't know. Like let's say she wasn't, but let's say you're not supposed to punish outside the context of a court, right? Or mob violence is not something that Judaism recognizes, right? We eschew mob violence. Let's just put it that way. So,
It
yeah,
bothers me at night regarding, I mean, I don't know full context, but the burning olive trees,
right,
you know, I know that when
Right.
they're not our buddies, you know,
Right.
on the other side, but why are
Right.
we going in there and burning their
Okay.
trucks and their olive trees? And
So I'll tell you the following. I don't know what's happening there. When I don't know, I'm not going to comment. But I will tell you that we saw how the BBC now, many of the top people in the BBC had to resign. Now the reason they had to resign was because what they did is they took a clip of Donald Trump's January 6th speech, and in this clip he says, I want everybody to go to Congress and we have to honor the congressmen and we have to show them our appreciation. And then he continues the speech. And then at the end of the speech, 50 minutes after this clip, like he's talking, he says, then we have to fight, something like that.
Right.
So what did the BBC do? They spliced it. They said, I want everybody to go to Congress, and he really said, and show your appreciation to the congressman, something along those lines, or honor the congressman. But instead it said, I want everybody to go to Congress and fight. Okay,
Wow.
so I don't trust a word that the media says about Israel. I just don't trust them. I'm not saying it happened, didn't happen, I don't know. I agree, I'm not for vigilante justice. I was once in, we were like in the old city of Jerusalem, and we were like doing, on Rosh Chodesh, we used to do this thing where we go around Jerusalem to the different entrances of the Har HaBayit, and people started screaming, Mavet la'Arabim. And I told him it's not nice. It's meaning, I'm not in favor of, I'm for death penalty for terrorists, I'm not a left-wing guy, don't worry, I'm not, like really not.
Were they upset when you
But I believe that there's a process is very important. Meaning we can't turn into a mob country, is what I'm saying. So I'm very right wing when it comes to security issues, extremely so. But just to start screaming, just like that, I'm not for that. So I share your sentiments, but I don't trust anything that the media. What?
Doesn't refine the neshama too much.
Yeah, I don't trust anything the media says.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
but
it's our media,
what
that's the
did the
problem.
Arabs do that precipitated that burning of the trees?
Oh, I don't even know if it happened. That's the thing. Meaning I don't trust the
No, but
media.
It was our media, it was
What?
Times of Israel,
No. It doesn't matter. They're all.
Yeah, you think that they're also scientists?
They're
But I
not.
saw pictures.
The only thing that Jerusalem Post they quoted me a week ago, so I give them some credit. I don't know if you saw it. They had they had this. I'm saying it as a joke. Jerusalem Post actually is not so bad, but yeah. Okay.
What's the place in Israel that has a sign where you can't come in if you're not Siniyut or?
All right. Mea Shearim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mea Shearim. Okay.
I'm sure they'll throw stones at you there too if you will.
They might. It's a distinct possibility. Okay.
You don't have to go to Israel. There's places here in New Square, in Monroe. There's several stores where you have men here, women here. You don't have to go to Israel for that.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. So let's continue.
Oh, the woman came up on the
Yeah. Same thing in Blanford. Yeah.
All right. So Roseach. Yeah. So we said that. I'm sorry. Okay. So הם מתים אותו העדים ולא הרואים אותו עד שיבוא לבתים ויתירו למיתה שנאמר ולא ימות הרוצח עד עומדו לפני אדם למשפט. We read that. והוא הדין לכל מחויבי מיתת בית דין שעברו ועשו any person who violates a crime for which the penalty is death, not just the murderer. A person does avodah zarah in public, and you tell the guy haram, you're not to do avodah zarah. You realize again, you go through the whole process. You do not execute any judgment through the mob. It's always going to be through the court, through the bet din, right? There is an exception.
What number you on?
Vav.
Oh, okay, got it.
But there is an exception to this rule where you as an individual do have a right to kill the murderer, which is what it is right now. If it's already too late. If the murder was already committed, there's nothing you can do. The crime was done. So at this point, it is forbidden for you as an individual or for a mob of people to go to the murderer and kill him. They can go to the murderer and capture him, yes, and bring him to court, yes, but they may not kill him. But this is the famous law of Rodef. Rodef is a person. I see that Reuven, he's running after Shimon, and he's running after him with a knife, and Shimon is screaming, save me, save me, save me, and then Reuven is catching up to him, and he's about to stab Shimon, and I see what's happening. I am allowed to kill Reuven in order to prevent him from killing Shimon. That is allowed in Jewish law, very important law. I know in American law, there might be some dispute, in some cases allowed, maybe not allowed. We know what happened to Daniel Penny when he was, again, maybe some people would say, well, he wasn't killing anybody. Okay, I'm not getting into a dispute now, but it's a type of situation which is not uncommon, right? So here, Reuven wants to kill Shimon. You see it. You may interject and kill the prospective murderer.
But it might have been an aggressive game of tag. I don't know.
Hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully it wasn't. Even if it's a minor. Even if it's a minor, you are allowed to kill the minor. And by the way, later on when we study the laws of abortion, one of the considerations is as follows: is there a danger to the life of the mom? Because if there's a danger to the life of the mom, some poskim say that's a type of rodef, where the baby is causing the death of the mom. So in that case, for example, I'm giving you a situation where this argument is used to allow abortion. I'm not saying this is the only case, but I'm saying this is a common argument in favor of abortion when it's an appropriate argument. And even if you need to kill the prospective murderer, you kill the prospective murderer. You do whatever you need to do to save the life of the victim. Okay, sir. Let's elaborate on this point. Im hiziru, you see the Reuven, and you say, Reuven, what are you doing? Stop. The Reuven is running with a knife. And you didn't have a chance to go to the Reuven and tell him, like you're running after the Reuven, you're sprinting. I used to go running a lot, and once one of my congregants in Israel was calling me up and they asked me all these questions, and I was like, I was having a hard time talking. I was in the middle of a run. So he says, Rabbi, is everything okay? I say, yeah, I'm in the middle of a run. So when you're running, it's hard to speak. So now you're running after the murderer, and you're going to start quoting to him, listen, the Torah says, Lo tirsa. In the meantime, the guy's just going to catch up and kill the other person. So So you see, you didn't give him atra'ah. I know, I couldn't give him atra'ah. The guy was running. Another second, the other guy would be dead. Shimon would have been killed by Reuven, right? As long as it is in hot pursuit. That's a standard. There has to be a hot pursuit. If you kill someone who is in hot pursuit of another individual, that is considered allowed.
And no need to do hatam at all.
No need to do hatra'ah. If you, again, the guy's a hothead, he's like going crazy, like you're gonna give him, my son, this is a wrong thing to do. I want you to remember what Socrates told, right? Like this, he doesn't care. Okay, he doesn't care what, right? Okay. All right.
What do you do if two people are fighting and they're both trying to kill each other?
Right. So that's a fight. That's not rodef. Rodef means one person is running and the other person is chasing him down.
If
Right.
you're trying to kill each other, you just
Right. Listen, if you can stop it, stop it. You don't have an obligation. That's not the law of rodef. And the best thing is to stay away from that, because in that case, since it's not rodef, if you get involved and then you kill somebody, chas v'shalom, then bar minan, you could be accused of murder, right? Because it's not rodef. The excuse here is that there's a hot pursuit. But if there's no hot pursuit, so why did you kill? So you're not
No,
allowed
you're
to.
not supposed to try to, so, let's go to the regular case. We
Yes.
have two witnesses are supposed to look at somebody and say, you know, you're not supposed to do what you're about to do.
Yes.
Now, back in those days, they didn't have guns, it wasn't like somebody had a gun to somebody's head.
Yeah.
So, however he was attacking him, shouldn't those witnesses instead try to stop him from killing somebody?
So apparently they couldn't. Apparently they thought they'd be able to. They thought he would listen, whatever the situation was, and he just said, I don't care what you're telling me. And then he runs and he does his thing. Now maybe they could have tried to stop him. Yes, you're right. They would try to stop him. And if he's
But
in
they
a
have to
hot,
see it happen, right? It
right.
can't be like,
If
the
it's in
guy
a-
saying, I'm gonna go kill that person, say, you really shouldn't do that.
Right.
And then he leaves, 20 minutes later, the person's dead.
Yes, exactly. But the law of Rodev, again, very important, hot pursuit. Those two words are key. Now, if there's a possibility to not murder the prospective murderer, meaning Reuven is chasing after Shimon, and I have a gun, and I can just shoot Reuven right now. If I can shoot him in the legs, it would be preferable to shoot him in the legs. Again, we're not dealing here with war. We're not dealing here with a situation where there's a terrorist. We're dealing here with a Jew chasing down another Jew, and now I have a choice. I can kill the murderer. He didn't murder yet. He's going to become a murderer soon. Or I can injure him. If possible, to injure him, do it that way, right?
And if you don't,
Doesn't
matter.
Right. No, meaning nobody can, because we recognize that it's very difficult to judge what was happening in a person's mind. Right, so it's very easy to tell a person after the fact, oh, why didn't you shoot him in the leg? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you? Well, yeah, I mean, you're all looking at this case, 100 miles away from up in the outer space, and you're like, suddenly, right? Like I was there, I saw this lady getting chased by this lowlife, and I wanted to save her life, and this is why I saved her life, right? So when a person is at the heat of the moment, it's difficult for us to expect him to make these types of judgments. But if he in his mind can say, you know what? I'm going to shoot him in the knee, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab him, tackle him, whatever. Okay, then do it.
Does it have to be also when the hot pursuit, or can that be earlier?
No, Hatara.
And when you do Hatara,
Oh,
someone says, this guy wasn't waiting and go kill him.
No,
They
you
don't kill him,
can't.
or you're gonna get killed.
You can't.
And then 2 hours later, he goes and he kills him. Does that have to valid, or it has to be?
it has to be at the moment. It has to be at the moment. It
At
has
the
to be at the moment. Yeah. Okay. But so like we said, if it's possible to injure the person, injure him. אינם יכולים לכוון ולא להסילו, אלא אם כן הנהגו לרודף, הרי אלו הוגים אותו ואף אבי שעדיין לא הרג, שנאמר וכסותה את כפה לא תחוסן אלא. So the law is very clear. If for some reason you can't stop him, you need to kill him. You kill him. Again, in your mind, you must think about it. But if thinking is going to mean that the guy now is going to go commit murder, you don't think. You stop him. And if stopping him means shoot him, then shoot him. Whatever you know in your mind will stop him, do it. Okay, so again, we want to minimize the possibility of murder, but we're not going to hold the person accountable for supposedly having shot in the heart when he should have shot in the leg. Right? We're not going to do that.
Case that came into my mind. You see somebody pursuing, he's about to kill somebody, and you stop and you kill him. Meanwhile, he was somebody that was going after somebody, Goel Hadam,
Yeah.
redeeming to try to kill that guy who was a murderer.
Right.
Am I now liable? Is that person now
Right.
liable?
So the question is, right, yeah. So first of all, yeah, we're gonna deal with some laws related. Right.
No, all you see is guy he's chasing to kill him because he killed my relative, and then you kill him. What happens?
Right. So we're gonna have to look at the laws of Makkei Nefesh Bishkaga. There's different types of shogeg. There's shogeg where it's some sort of gross negligence. There's shogeg where it's not gross negligence. We're gonna look at different situations, and we certainly would not execute him. That's for sure, because they would have to be hatara. There was no hatara. So on this we would say anistarot Adonai, and God knows what
I don't
happened.
think you
Right,
have
got
to
it.
run away because you may kill somebody by accident. That's an accidental
It's an
murder.
accidental murder?
Yeah.
It's a type of accident. When you killed the person, you thought you were doing a mitzvah, and ended up you're doing an avera. But it happens also in war. Sometimes it happens at a friendly fire.
No, but that person's relative would be able to avenge on you, so you'd have to run away.
Right, so we're going to study. Is that considered shogeg? Is that there's different, right. But very interesting what happens in war. when one soldier kills another soldier. But Minan, it's happened, right? There was these two hostages passed out at the beginning.
Friendly fire.
Yeah, and they were running away. They escaped from the hostages, and then they got shot by the IDF Chazan. They're like Mishmor. Can't even
In that
imagine.
case, there is go down.
Right. So that's I would need to know the circumstances. But if it was negligent, I don't think there was any negligence there. By the way, there was no. To my understanding, there was no negligence by the soldiers. I mean, they made a mistake, but since there was no negligence, then there would be no. It's not even considered shogeg.
Killing hostage.
It would be a type of onus or something like that. Not shigaga. Shigaga. In order for there to be the law of goel hadam, it has to be some sort of gross negligence, right? Okay, I think we'll stop here. One more. Okay. All right. Now, yeah. 1 second. Where are we up to?
Dessert.
Right. So the Kasotat Kappa, let me explain to you what happened with the Kasotat Kappa. It's interesting to the situation, similar to what Albert Ibn Isaac said. So Reuven and Shimon are getting into a fight. Okay. So they're fighting, they're boom, punching, whatever. And the wife of Reuven, she sees that Shimon is, hitting her husband, and he's in a, big fight. So she, I guess there's no pleasant way of putting it. She grabs him in a very painful place. So in okay, man, she grabs him in a painful place, and the Torah says now what happened is that she can kill the person there, right? So it's painful, but it also could lead to death. So the Kasotat Kappa. So the Torah says if she refuses to let go and the guy is dying, you can chop off her hands. Now, what do you mean chop off her hands? Meaning, you would say kill her because she's a rodef. He says no, chop off the hands. Do what you can do to stop her. Right? You see again, the Torah minimizes it. But do what you could do. You could save the guy. The guy Shimon is good. She's gonna right.
She's not gonna kill him.
He's trying to say
You kill him.
Well, Rabbi, didn't they wear like
Kill
these?
him?
They
I
didn't
think
wear
we
pants
chop
in
off
those
the
days.
hands.
No, they didn't.
They wore like a
Like a jalabia.
jalabia, right?
Let's go before you shop.
So
So you're saying she grabbed onto the guy, she wouldn't let go?
and she couldn't let go.
Uh-huh.
Rabbi,
Ouch.
in Masechet Bava Kama, it says that
Yeah.
even if she kills him, she has to pay.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that she gets her hands chopped off technically.
No, exactly. We know.
She pays.
Right. First of all, correct. Number one. From a financial perspective, she pays. But the lesson that the Gemara learns in this particular situation in Masechet Sanhedrin is that from here we learn that you do whatever you can do to stop a rodef. It's a derasha. The peshat is what you said. The peshat is about financial liability. But the Gemara makes the derasha. From here we learn that we do whatever if we need to chop off our hand to save the other guy's life, the guy's dying, literally. you can chop off her hand, right? Because it's a hyperbola. It's a hyperbolic statement. All right. So echad mevushav, it doesn't matter whether she can be grabbing him there or doing anything that's causing him danger. Echad ha'isha shechazat ha'ish, it could be a woman grabbing a man. Echad ha'isha shechazat ha'isha, it doesn't matter which way it goes. The lesson is anybody who is about to hit his friend in a way that can lead to death, we can go so far as to even chop off the hand of the murderer in order to save the victim. So again, you see the two steps? Kasotat kappa, don't kill her, cut off the hand. As we said, we don't go first to shooting in the heart. Doesn't work? Okay, then you shoot in the heart. That's the lesson, right? All right, we're going to continue next week. Very interesting series of laws. Give me the papers because I think we see we're going to continue next week with the same theory. It's Kuvim soon.